Hey guys, it's Yvette and I am presenting to you the small Clue 5 for the Name of the Rose Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt. And this is I always forget the name of it. Team Whimsy. Woo, thank God it's written over there. Okay, so I am on Team Whimsy for the small quilt that I'm doing. And here are the fabrics that we are using. You will receive this little fabric cheat sheet in the first clue that you receive, and you want to keep that throughout the 10 months so that you know what each fabric is for your particular quilt. Okay, so I've already counted all of the pieces because when you get your sheet in the mail, it will tell you what your pieces, or it'll show you what your pieces are going to look like when you're done, and it will tell you how many of each piece you should have within your package. And I do have all of mine. So now we're going to flip this over and start with our section 5, or our Clue 5 pieces that we're going to sew together. Okay, so I'm going to just set this up here for a bit, and I'm going to move everything over. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is 2 A triangles, which are these guys, and we have 2. And 2 D fabrics, which are these, and we have 4. So I'm going to take 2 of them. And I'll move everything else over. Okay, so we're making 2 of these, and I'm going to put my D piece to the top left, and I'm going to put my A piece to the bottom right. And you will flip them right sides together. I'm going to flip this one on top because I mark my seams, and I know that some people don't. That's fine. You can head over to the sewing machine right now and just sew your 1/4 inch seam allowance. But for me and for anyone else who likes to mark their seams, I'm going to do that right now. Just kind of trying to put them together. All right, I just want to make sure that I can at least cover everything on the, well, I guess it's just not going to cover all the way. You guys, if you get pieces like this, honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. This happens, and the quilts always come out looking lovely, so I don't really worry about it. Let's get a ruler, and gosh, I keep pulling all these giant rulers off. I just want a little one. Let's see. Put that one there. I'll put that giant one there. Okay. So I'm just going to mark a 1/4 inch line. And I'll take a friction pin. And honestly, you don't have to do this either, but I just like to put a couple wonder clips just so it doesn't move. It's not, you know, necessary for anything else. I just don't want it to move as I go over to the sewing machine. And usually I'm over there making like changes to the camera and stuff like that. So it just ensures that, you know, it's not going to move while I'm doing all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's head over and sew that seam on these 2 pieces. Okay, so I have stitched and also pressed. So they want us to press toward the D fabric, which is the top left. So I have done that. And now we're going to take these 2D fabrics, the 2 rectangles, and we are going to attach them to the left side of the squares that we just drew. So I'm just going to fold it over right sides together. And at this point, if you're not marking, you can head over to the sewing machine and sew your 1/4 inch seam right here. I'm going to draw my 1/4 inch seam and then head over to the sewing machine myself. Okay, so here are the 2 pieces that we have made so far, and we're going to set these aside for just a moment. And now we want to get 2 pieces, or 2 D triangles, which are these again. They're going to go to the top left. And then we're going to get 2 F fabrics, which are these guys, who are going to go to the bottom right. Okay, we are going to do same as in the first step. We're going to flip these right sides together, and we are going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance right there and come back. Okay, so we have these 2 squares that we have completed, and they asked us to press towards F. So we pressed toward the lighter fabric, and now we're going to take 2 of the rectangles in F, and we're going to attach them this time to the right side. I'm gonna flip that banana over, of the squares that we have. So we're going to go ahead and take these, and we're going to put them right sides together, and you're going to go and stitch a 1/4 inch seam allowance on both of those on the left side, and then come back here. Okay, so now we have these 2 longer rectangle pieces, and we are going to combine them like this. So we're going to take one of each, because we're going to do them to both, but I'm going to show you on one. And you're going to turn it right sides together. And it looks like we have enough room. I can do this one as well. And we're going to join them right here. So that's where you want your 1/4 inch seam allowance to go. Right there. As soon as we have that sewn, we'll come back and move to the next step. Okay, so we have these 2 triangles. We've got these 2 rectangles, and we're going to set them aside for just a moment. Gosh, that was funny. Okay, and now we are going to join triangle E, which is this guy, and we're going to take 4 of them, and the E is going to go to the bottom left. And then we're going to take 4 pieces of F, and we're going to put those to the top right. Okay, and now we're going to do just like before, where we're going to fold them down right sides together. And now we're going to sew our 1/4 inch seam allowance here, 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 and here. And as soon as we get done with that, we'll come back for the next step. Okay, so we have our 4 squares that we put together, and now we are going to add one of these squares of the fabric E to the left side of each one. Okay, so again, we are just going to flip these right sides together. And you are going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance here, 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 and here. And when you're done with that, come back and we will do the next step. Okay, so we have these pieces that we've sewed together, and now we are going to make 2 larger squares out of these pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew them together like so. So we'll have those 2 to sew together and these 2 to sew together exactly like this. So basically you're just flipping one over and making squares like this. And so we're going to just take it and fold it right sides together. And in this particular instance, you'll be able to nest the seams. And that just means that basically the seam that you sewed on both of them are going to sort of butt up against each other. And you can feel that they are exactly in that sweet spot. And you want that to happen so that all of your points come together in the correct place. So then we're just going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. And then once I have this side done, same exact thing. And you want to make sure you feel it all the way to the bottom. They won't overlap or anything like that. They're going to go right up against each other. And then you're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance there. And when we come back, we will go to the next step. And in fact, we only have 2 steps left. So we are like in the home stretch. Okay, so here are the pieces we just sewed together. We've got these squares, and now we are going to add to the left side this rectangle piece of fabric F. I think I want to flip that one that way. I like that little banana. Anyway, it's fine. Okay, so then we're going to just flip these right sides together, and we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance right here and right here. Okay, so now we have these 2 pieces and we are going to sew them together. And then that's going to make 2 identical blocks like this. Okay, so we are going to take them and flip them right sides together. And we are going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance right here and right here. It seems that, let me see, we are going to be able to nest seams right here and also should right there as well. We've got some that'll nest. So go ahead and nest those together. Make sure that they feel like they're butting right up against each other, not overlapping, and then sew your seam allowance here. Okay, so here are our 2 clues that are completed, and they were supposed to measure around, well, they're supposed to measure 9.5 by 12.5 inches. And we are going to label them Section 5 for future use. And of course, mine do not quite make 9.5 by 12.5, but they never do. So I just sort of trimmed them up a little bit to clean it, just to clean it up and, you know, make it easier to use later. And so I'm just going to put these away and save them for month 10 when we're putting them all together. So I hope you guys had a great time putting these small name of the rose clues together. Again, this one is Team Whimsy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for sewing with me.